Ever stared up into the sky, watching the vastness of the cosmos around you and thought, man, if I farted right now, it would really ruin the mood? Or is that just me? But seriously, the stars in the night sky have fascinated humans for centuries. And even without any fancy technology, there's a whole host of interesting things that we can see with our naked eyes on a clear night. Welcome to Science with Steph, the show where I think way too much about the world around us and then share the best bits with you guys. This week I am heading to outer space, taking you on a quick tour of the night sky, and I'm going to point out my top 5 favourite things that you can see with your naked eye. No telescope required, just a clear, dark night. I'm looking at you, Scotland. Why even have some of the darkest skies in Europe if you can't stop raining? So let's start at number 5, the International Space Station. The International Space Station, or the ISS, is travelling at a whopping 280,000 kilometres an hour. Every day it travels the equivalent distance of travelling to the moon and back. Fun fact, did you know that if you put every planet next to each other in line, they would actually all fit in between the Earth and the moon? How crazy is that? It's pretty incredible to think that when you see it, what you're looking at is actual astronauts in outer space doing incredible science, learning about how to survive in space, future missions, how to protect the Earth, cooperating internationally, and showcasing some of the cutting edge in learning and science. All in space! It's one of the brightest things you can see in the night sky, and in fact you can actually see it during the daytime too. I'm going to leave a link in the description below of where you can track it so you can go out and see it for yourself. Number 4, Saturn. So you can see most planets in the night sky without using a telescope, though Mercury is awfully close to the Sun and can be quite difficult to detect, and then Neptune and Uranus are just too far away to be able to see properly. But they're all pretty obviously not stars. In fact, did you know that planets used to be called wandering stars? Because even though the constellations would stay in the same place day after day, the planets would move across the constellations, confusing early astronomers as to why they did that. The 4 easiest planets to spot are Venus, Mars, Jupiter and Saturn. Venus used to be called the morning and the evening star because it's so close to the sun. You can only ever see it either late at night or early in the morning just before sunrise. Mars is quite easy to spot. That's the reddish one. And Jupiter, being such a big planet, even though it's far away, is still one of the brightest things in the sky, and it doesn't twinkle the way a star was, so you can usually spot it pretty easily. Steph, you said that your 4th favourite thing was Saturn, and you've just been going on about all these other planets. Ah, you're right, cynical Steph. Thank you for keeping me on track, because I just get way distracted when I get really excited about stuff. I chose Saturn because God liked it and put a ring on it. So why is Saturn so different to the other planets with having such an expansive ring system? We've not managed to count how many pieces there are in the rings around Saturn, but scientists think there's millions, if not billions of particles in those rings. Now, we're not entirely sure how they formed, but current guesses think that some body or moon wandered too close to Saturn millions of years ago and went past what we call the Roche limit. Now, this limit is where you get so close to Saturn that the gravitational forces that you feel from one end of the moon to the other are so different that they actually pull the moon apart into thousands of pieces. As this was blasted apart by those tidal forces, it was swept up by the other moons into a ring system. I could honestly talk for hours about Saturn's rings. There's rings that like crisscross around each other. There's a gap in one of the rings where an actual moon is going through there, sweeping up bits of the rock and pushing them out the way. It's honestly so fascinating, but I'm going to rein it in. If you want to know more about Saturn's rings, honestly, give this video a like, comment down below. I will go on and on at you. Another fun fact about Saturn is that if you've got a small telescope, a decent set of binoculars, or even a fancy camera with a really good optical zoom, you can zoom in on Saturn and actually see these rings for themselves. Galileo actually famously said that Saturn's got cup handles because he didn't know what the rings were. So Saturn wins the cup for being the coolest planet in the solar system. Hashtag Steph approved. So moving out of our solar system, the 3rd best thing you can see in the night sky is Betelgeuse. Alright, I better not mention its name another 2 times, otherwise spooky things might happen. Betelgeuse comes from the Arabic, which literally means Orion's armpit. Sorry, Betelgeuse. Okay, I think we're safe. Anyway, Alpha Orionis is probably the biggest object you can physically see with just your eyes. It's so big, in fact, that if we put that star in the middle of our solar system, not only would it completely engulf Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars, it would probably engulf all of Jupiter as well. It's also a variable star, meaning that it increases and decreases in brightness, varying from about the 7th brightest thing in the sky down to about the 20th. And this variability has meant that its distance is actually quite hard to work out. What we do is we work out the distance using the parallax effect. This is a little bit like when you're going for a long drive and we see things nearby you move very fast compared to maybe the mountains in the distance. We do the same thing as we move around the sun. When we're at one end of our orbit, we can actually see the nearer stars move against the backdrop of further away stars as we move around to the other side of the orbit. Seeing this slight shift of the near stars versus the far away stars is called the parallax effect, and the more they shift, the closer they are, so we can work out their distance. Current estimates think that Betelgeuse is 760 light years away. 1 light year is the distance that light travels in a whole year, so it's pretty far. Betelgeuse is a red supergiant, meaning that in terms of star years, it's older than the Sun. However, we think it's aged prematurely because of its massive size, and that could attribute as to why it's so variable. It could have quite a lot of instability as to how quickly it's varied over its lifetime. Hopefully, the more that we learn about interesting stars like this, helps us learn more about the universe at large. Number 2, Sirius the dog star.
Dog star? But I hate dogs.
Yeah, well, I love dogs. And cats, don't worry. But anyway, this is a star. What are you even worrying about? You don't know what stars are. Not only is this star the name of one of my favourite Harry Potter characters, it's also the brightest star in the entire night sky. Sirius is so bright because 1, it's so close, it's only 9 light years away. 2, its peak wavelength is just in the visible spectrum where we can see the best. And 3, it's actually 2 stars masquerading as 1. Although 1 is still super bright and then the other star is a really faint dwarf. Sirius is gradually drifting towards our solar system, meaning it will actually increase in brightness over the next 60,000 years. So don't hold your breath until it actually reaches us. Sirius A is a bright bluish white star, about 2.5 times the size of our Sun and about 25 times more luminous. Sirius B was probably born about the same time as Sirius A, but it was a much more massive star, meaning it aged through the cycle a lot faster, going past the red giant phase, shedding off its outer layers, and now all that's left is a dim white dwarf. The first astronomer to make a meaningful observation of the distance using parallax was a Scottish astronomer called Thomas Henderson in 1833. I'm surprised he got any clear nights to make any sort of observation. One of my favourite and most stunning things about this star is how much it twinkles when it's near the horizon. In the Roman times, it used to be called the bright burning star because of just how much it twinkles and how fierce it was. Check it out next time you can, honestly. So before we reach number 1, I want to give a shout out to some honourable mentions. The moon, for example, which is the brightest thing in the sky after our sun, is our only natural satellite and it's pretty awesome. Hi moon, I love your face. Mars also deserves a shout out. Remember when I was talking earlier about planets being wandering stars? Well, Mars's motion is even more interesting. It has this thing called retrograde motion, where it wanders in one direction for a while, comes to a slow stop, wanders back again for a short bit, stops again, and then carries on its merry way. Obviously, before he does that, he pulls out his phone to pretend he's got like a really important message so that he can legitimately turn around and go in the other direction without looking like an idiot. Obviously, we've all done that. I know you have, don't lie to me. Retrograde motion can be proven quite quickly with a nice diagram and some maths. If you want me to do that in a video, I totally can. Just leave a comment down below and ask. Another honourable mention goes to the North Star. The interesting thing here is that the star is almost perfectly aligned with the direction of north on our Earth. So no matter where the Earth is spinning, the North Star is always in the north, meaning you don't get lost. It's super easy to find as well. All you find is the big saucepan or Big Dipper, whatever you like to call it. Follow along the lines of the pan. You take your last 2 stars, follow the line that they make to the brightest star, and you've got the North Star. Also a shout out to the Pleiades, which is my personal favourite collection of stars, and you can only see it properly when you don't look directly at it, like a really bad invisible man or something. And so now number 1, the Andromeda Galaxy. Not only is this slightly twinkling smudge in the night sky an entire galaxy that's bigger than our own Milky Way, It's also pretty much the furthest thing away that you can see unaided with your naked eye. What you're looking at is a galaxy that's 2.5 million light years away, which means that you're looking at 1 trillion stars that are 2.5 million years old. What? Andromeda is roughly 2 times the size of our home galaxy and spans about 220 light years across. Andromeda and our own galaxy are slowly drifting towards each other and are expected to collide in a truly astronomical, exciting fashion. Don't wait with bated breath though, as scientists expect this to happen in about 4.5 billion years or so. So I'm just going to leave some nice photos of images that we've taken of the Andromeda galaxy. It's a pretty standard looking galaxy, but it's really freaking stunning. So my question to you is, have you ever gone out stargazing? If so, what did you see? And what's your favourite thing in the night sky? I hope you enjoyed this episode of Science with Steph. If you did, give it a big thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. And leave a comment below if you want to see more videos about outer space. I bring out new videos every Friday, so be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss when I next upload. In the meantime though, if you want to watch my last episode, you can click here. Or if you want to watch the episode that the YouTube algorithm thinks that you will like the most, then you can click here. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye!
I hate dogs so much. But I hate dogs.